The Partridge Family, a colorful bus, catchy tunes, and the ultimate dream of suburban stardom. But behind the iconic velvet vests lay a trail of shattered lives, hidden addictions, and tragic departures that the cameras never captured. From overnight gods to homeless survivors, what really happened when the music stopped? Stay tuned as we unmask the haunting reality of the cast. Shirley Jones. She was the ultimate squeaky clean mother to millions of viewers. But behind that famous Partridge smile, Shirley Jones was hiding a reality so wild, her explosive 2013 memoir would permanently shatter her perfect mom image. She didn't need a TV sitcom to make her a star. A full 10 years before stepping onto that iconic, colorful bus in 1970, she had already won a Best Supporting Actress Academy Award for Elmer Gantry. Yet, for 4 massive seasons and 96 episodes, she became the undisputed emotional anchor of American television. She effortlessly held together 5 kids, a touring pop band, and a massive cultural empire that sold over 20 million records worldwide. But the flawless TV widow was navigating a real-life nightmare. Behind the scenes, her 18-year marriage to Jack Cassidy, David Cassidy's real-life father, was crumbling under the weight of his severe bipolar disorder and relentless infidelity. The marriage officially collapsed in 1974, the exact same year the network abruptly canceled the show. Decades later, she dropped a bombshell on her loyal fan base, a brutally honest, highly explicit autobiography exposing a deeply adventurous private life that Hollywood executives never saw coming. David Cassidy. David Cassidy generated a global frenzy unseen since the Beatles. Yet, the very fame that crowned this teen idol ultimately destroyed him. Grabbing a guitar as Keith Partridge at just 20 years old turned David into an overnight god. He wasn't merely acting, he transformed into a full-blown pop phenomenon. Stadiums sold out worldwide within minutes. Millions of screaming fans plastered his posters across their bedroom walls, cementing his status as the defining superstar of the 1970s. That dazzling spotlight masked a crushing personal darkness. Decades of relentless industry pressure fueled David's severe, lifelong battle with alcohol addiction. 3 separate marriages ended in divorce. Then, in early 2017, he stepped forward with a devastating public confession. He had been diagnosed with dementia. His body finally surrendered just months later. On November 21, 2017, David passed away from liver failure at the age of 67. Suzanne Day survived the brutal spotlight of teenage fame and conquered primetime television. Then, without warning, she pulled off the ultimate Hollywood disappearing act. Stepping onto the set at just 17, Suzanne possessed absolutely zero prior acting experience. Yet she effortlessly brought the sharp, grounded sister Lori Partridge to life for 4 solid seasons. Proving she was no one-hit wonder, she completely shattered the dreaded child star curse. She later claimed a Golden Globe for her powerhouse performance on the legal drama L.A. Law, executing one of the industry's most respected reinventions, but her glowing teenage smile masked a terrifying physical battle. Maturing under the relentless gaze of millions triggered a severe, life-threatening bout of anorexia. Suzanne secretly starved herself while America watched her grow up on screen. Although she ultimately conquered the eating disorder to achieve dramatic acclaim, the grueling nature of fame took a permanent toll. She eventually walked away from Hollywood completely, severing ties with the press, rejecting reunions, and totally erasing her public footprint. Bonaduce. Danny Bonaduce charmed millions as television's most beloved red-headed troublemaker. Nobody expected this brilliant child star to trade Hollywood soundstages for a desperate life on the streets. Armed with spectacular comedic instincts, 11-year-old Danny stole every single scene he entered. He naturally delivered sharp punchlines that veteran actors spent decades trying to master. Playing the scheming bass guitarist, he forged the vital comedic backbone that carried the entire series. Surviving his early success proved incredibly grueling. Danny waged a highly public war against severe drug addiction and faced numerous arrests. He hit absolute rock bottom, eventually becoming completely homeless and living inside his car. Miraculously, he clawed his way back to prominence through a highly lucrative radio broadcasting career. Yet, fate delivered a devastating strike in 2024 when an undiagnosed neurological illness suddenly crippled his ability to walk and speak. Suzanne Crough. Suzanne Crough brought pure, innocent joy into millions of living rooms as the youngest Partridge. Yet the sweetest face on television ultimately suffered the most sudden and heartbreaking exit of the entire cast. Joining the production at just 7 years old, Suzanne anchored the family dynamic with effortless charm. She shook her signature tambourine and smiled brightly through all 96 episodes. She never tried to steal the spotlight from the older actors. Instead, she provided the essential innocence that made the fictional band feel entirely genuine to devoted viewers across the country. Unlike her famous co-stars, she completely rejected the toxic Hollywood machine. Following the series finale, Suzanne walked away from acting to build a remarkably normal life as a retail manager, wife, and mother. She successfully avoided tabloid scandals and industry traps. Tragically, a silent medical condition cut her peaceful reality brutally short. On April 27, 2015, Suzanne passed away abruptly from cardiomegaly, an undiagnosed enlarged heart, at exactly 52 years old. Dave Madden. Dave Madden brought unforgettable energy to the Partridge Family as Reuben Kincaid, the perpetually exhausted and sarcastic band manager who constantly tried to keep the chaotic family in line. Drawing from his sharp comedic timing honed on Rowan and Martin's laugh-in, he became the perfect foil to the Partridges' wild energy across all 96 episodes. However, fame came at a cost. Madden struggled to escape the shadow of Reuben Kincaid and found himself typecast. Unlike many of his co-stars, he chose to completely step away from Hollywood. He lived a quiet, private life, far from the spotlight in his later years. On January 16, 2014, Dave Madden passed away from kidney failure at the age of 82, closing a remarkable chapter in television history. Brian Forster. Brian Forster joined the Partridge Family from season 2 onward, taking over the role of Chris Partridge and staying with the show for the remaining 71 episodes. He brought a calm and steady presence that balanced the family's chaotic energy. Few people knew that Brian was actually the great-great-grandson of the legendary author Charles Dickens, best known for A Tale of Two Cities. However, after the series ended in 1974, he chose not to chase Hollywood fame like many of his co-stars. Instead, he completely left acting and became a professional race car driver. Brian never used his sitcom fame or his family's literary legacy to gain attention. He lived a quiet, private life, fully dedicating himself to the thrill and speed of professional racing. Jeremy Gelbwaks. Jeremy Gelbwaks was the original Chris Partridge in season 1 of the Partridge Family. At just 9 years old, he appeared in the first 25 episodes, playing the youngest member of America's hottest new sitcom during its explosive debut in 1970. However, after only 1 season, he suddenly disappeared. There was no scandal, no firing, and no backstage drama. His father simply received a corporate job transfer out of state. Seeing a rare chance to escape, Jeremy completely left the entertainment industry. He quietly built a successful and anonymous career as an IT professional. Since then, he has aggressively avoided all reunion specials and media requests related to the Partridge Family. Seagull. When ratings started to decline, producers brought in 5-year-old Seagull as a last-ditch effort to save the Partridge Family. He joined the final season in 1973 as the adorable neighbor Ricky Stevens, appearing in just 10 episodes. With his natural charm and cuteness, Rick provided the show with its final moments of warmth before it ended in 1974. However, the harsh reality of child stardom hit quickly. Once his brief window of appeal closed, acting roles disappeared almost overnight. Rick managed only a few minor guest spots before the phone stopped ringing entirely. Unlike many of his co-stars who faced public struggles, Rick quietly retreated from the spotlight and built a deeply private adult life, disappearing from the public eye long before he even finished elementary school. Rosemary. Rosemary DeCamp didn't need the Partridge Family to become a star. By the time she joined the cast in 1970 as Grandma Amanda Renfrew, she was already 59 and a veteran actress with over 3 decades in Hollywood. She appeared in only 4 episodes, but her elegance and professionalism brought a touch of Hollywood's golden age to the show. Having previously worked with legends like James Cagney, Ronald Reagan, and Humphrey Bogart, Rosemary was a steady, reliable presence on set. Her time on the sitcom marked the final chapter of an extraordinary career that spanned radio, film, and television for over 50 years. She survived the fall of the studio system and the rise of rock and roll without ever fading away. Rosemary DeCamp passed away on February 20th, 2001, at the age of 90. Decades later, the bus has stopped, and the laughter has faded into the archives of television history. Some found peace in silence, while others paid the ultimate price for their time in the sun. Their stories serve as a chilling reminder. Hollywood's brightest lights often cast the darkest shadows. Which transformation shocked you the most? Share your thoughts below and subscribe.